Hi guys, we're going to call this 13B. We've been having some technical difficulties today. I had to cut off the first one and now start from where we left off. When we left off though, we were already almost done with 7.4 skills practice number 5. All we had left to do was to cross multiply. 8 times 2.6 is 20.8, and if we divided by the 4 we would get 5.2. Remember that we're now to the point where we have to find out what the x value is. They have already told us that they are similar. Okay, on these last two here, on the skills practice. On number 6, we had to take these two rectangles that they gave us. And they gave us that we're trying to find that as our x. We're given that as 1.8. We're given 6.5 and 2.6 for the dimensions of the two rectangles. So that now if we cross multiply to find our x, we have to do 1.8 times 6.5. If you multiply those together, you get 11.7. And then you would have to divide that by the 2.6. And then when you do that, you can check it on your calculators. You would get 4.5. Okay? That's it for the skills practice side. We're going to go over to the homework practice. The first one on the homework practice has these two triangles written up there for you or drawn for you on the sheet. If we make sure we rotate these correctly to line up the right sides with each other, we would be lining up 8 and 5 are the similar sides. So I would say 8 is to 5. And I could say that this 15 is to this 12. And we are now to, since we're on a new sheet, those dimensions are given to us. We are checking to see if that works. Okay, so we could cross multiply and say 8 times 12 you should know is 96. But 5 times 15 is not 96. 5 times 15 is only 75. So this guy is no, for sure. They are not similar. Okay, then I skip down to number 3, remembering that some of these are going to end up on your homework assignments within Google Classroom. So if I look at number 3, this 4 and this 10 are similar sides. So I could say 4 is to 10. Okay, and the other sides that I could compare are this one and this one. I can't use this 4 because they don't give me what this is. So I could say 5.6 is to x. Well, 10 times 5.6 is 56. And if I divide that by the 4, 56 divided by 4 is 14. Okay, that's it for lesson 4. Chapter 7, lesson 4. I'm going to do lesson 5 now. I'm going to try to do these one at a time, because the only difference between 7.4 and 7.5 is that they're taking these principles from 7.4 and making it so that you can apply them to some kind of real life situation. Okay, and these real life situations are still probably not going to be ones as a teenager that you're going to think are ones you're going to see all the time, but hey, let's humor them. Let's say we have on the reteach number 2, okay, lesson 5, reteach number 2, it has this building, right? We're going to take this building, it has all these windows on it, all really nice, that we look at, and we want to know that the height of this building is what we're finding, the h. Okay, we know that there's this parking meter over here, okay, that we know is 1.2 meters high. Okay, and we're talking about the triangles that have to do with both of those. And they tell us that this is 72. And they tell us that this is 0.8. So we have 1.2 and 0.8 here. We don't know this, but we know this. So we can set up a proportion that this guy to this guy would be 72 is to the 0.8, as the h would be to the 1.2. Okay? So to cross multiply these and figure these out, we would have to do 72 times 1.2 And when you do 72 times 1.2, you get 86.4. And then we'd have to divide by this 0.8. When you divide 86.4 by 0.8, you get 108. And that is meters. So this building, in other words, would be 108 meters tall. Okay, next one. I'm not doing any more on the reteach page, but I might put that one on an assignment. But on the homework page now, I said, I'm going to skills practice next. I'm doing 1, 3, and 5 for you. So we have this person. It's Becky, so we're going to assume that Becky's a girl. Okay, here's Becky. She's got her arms at her sides, and we want to know how tall Becky is. So we use H again, her height. Okay, and we've got Miss Becky. She's got a nice little triangle that goes with her that looks like this. And we know that this is 7, and that's all we know from that triangle. And then we've got another triangle over here, which looks like, I guess, they're comparing her to her mailbox. And the mailbox, we know, is 6.5 feet high. No, it's not. It's 3 feet high. I lied. I looked at number 2 instead of at number 3 still. That's 3, that's 4. And we can now compare these to where her height would be to 3. As this length here, 7, would be to that length there, 4. Well, if I cross multiply what I know, this would be 21. So if I did 21 and I divided it by the number that we didn't use here, 21 divided by 4 is 5.25. So Becky's height would be like 5.5 feet to 5 feet, 5.25 feet. Can't spit it out. Okay, then we go on to number 3, doing the odds on this page. How deep is the water? Well, we're at shoreline here, and we go out, and we are going down to this depth of the water here that we don't know is H. But we do know that right at this depth here, it's only 1, or in this case 1 foot. And we do know that that length here is 8. And we also know that from here to here, that's 50. So in other words, we've gone 50 feet out from the shore now. And we want to know how deep it is from the shore if we go that far out. Well, I know that this little 8 of this triangle would be the same thing as if I was comparing the 50. So this little 1 would go to my H. Now remember a long time ago I said if we can get even multiples it makes it easier sometimes. If I divided 8 by 8, don't I get 1? So if I divided 50 also by 8, I should get what my H, excuse me, 50 divided by 8 is 6.25. And that's feet. Okay, the other one I'm doing from the skills practice page is number 5, the amusement park. Now they want to know this distance D here from what they say is the water ride to the roller coaster. Okay, we don't know how far it is to get from the water ride to the roller coaster, but we do know that there's 45 meters from the water ride to the Ferris wheel. And we do know that it's 21 meters from the Ferris wheel to the entrance. Now, just like anybody would if they were at an amusement park and you wanted to know how to get from the water ride to the roller coaster, why not figure out how far it is to get from the water ride to the Ferris wheel, and from the Ferris wheel to the entrance, and then of course you would know how far that is. That's an everyday problem, right? Okay, so D, we do know that this distance here, by the way, is 10. Sorry, and so D is to 10. That was a joke, by the way. Who's going to do their walk from the water ride to the roller coaster by finding out all these proportions? D is to 10, as 45 is to 21. Okay, those are the proportions I could use. And if I'm cross multiplying, that's going to be 450. So we take the 450 and we divide it by the 21. And if we do that, we'll find out this distance here, 450 divided by 21 is 21.4. And that's meters, I think they were using. Yep. 21.4 meters from here to here. Okay? That's how you do number 5 on the skills practice. Alright? Going over to the homework page. On the homework practice page, I want to do 1 and 5. Okay, on number 1 in homework practice, you have this tree. Okay, this is your lovely tree. Okay, the tree is 25 feet high. We know. Okay, and we're comparing that tree to this little guy here who's so excited that he's standing there with his arms way up in the air. Okay, he's really excited. So this way we're going to do, this is 5 here, but all the way across we know is 20. Again, we've got a 25-foot high tree. What we don't know is how tall this excited little boy is. Okay, his name is Yori, of course, very common name. Everywhere you go, there's somebody named Yori. We compare these guys, and we go big one, big tree to Yori here, 25 over H. That's got to be the same thing as, if we're going big to little, we got to go big to little over here. 20 is to the 5. So when we cross multiply, 25 times 5 is 125. If we divide that by the 20, 125 divided by 20, use your calculator to check me, it's 6.25. And then the last one I'm going to do with you is number 5 on that same page. So stop the video to finish that one if you need to, and or fast forward to get through my erasing. As we get now to number 5 on the homework practice, they have this big huge triangle. This is number 5. Looks exactly like this, I'm sure. And we have this triangle next to it that looks exactly like that. And we know this is 12, and we know this is 5, but what we don't know is this guy right here. But we know enough because we know that 630 is like 12, and we know that that x must be like the 5, so that when we do this problem now, we can cross multiply the 630 and the 5, and when you do that, you would get 3,150. So if I divided both sides by 12, then when I divide that, use your calculators, check me out, you would be 262.5, and I believe that's feet. And that's number 5. When you do your Google Classroom, you will see an assignment over these. Make sure you do this wholeheartedly, do it completely. I've started putting some answer keys on Google Classroom so that you can do these, you can check your work, and hopefully that's all you're doing with the answer keys, is doing it and checking your work with it. It doesn't do you any good to just put the answers on those sheets and then send me pictures of what you did thinking that that's going to be good, because like always, you need to know how I got to 262.5. and not just that that's the answer. So take that into consideration. Do a good job. I will see you soon. Again, this was 13B because we had a first video. This is the second half of it. So this is what we call 13B. So this one and the last one will be your compilation of video 13. Have a good weekend.